My name is Courtney. I'm a Seint artist. I help women simplify their makeup routine by getting it all into this one lovely, adorable compact. This palette is magnetic, so you buy each tin of makeup individually and they fit into here. So I can color match you to your shades that match your skin tone. Just comment match below. Start with my under eye corrector. So I sometimes use a demi shade called 03. This works for a lot of women, but I can match you to your perfect demi shade if your 3D foundation isn't giving you the coverage you like. It usually does. It's usually good enough for day to day for me, but sometimes I will use this. So I may have recommended this brush with a demi shade. This is called the Blur brush. It's got this fluffy end and this rounded dome-like end, or maybe this brush, which is called the Spot brush. I love this one because it has a skinny little end, so it really helps you pinpoint just the areas you need covered, because with demi color correctors, you just want to place color to color, and then this fluffy end. So as we get older, we want to use less makeup, and Seint helps us do that. It's highly pigmented, so it's unlike traditional makeup. It's just, these tins last for so many months because you just use a little bit. So what I like to do sometimes with the Blur brush is dip into this demi shade. Then I just look for the darkest points and tap the littlest amount. So tapping just a little bit in here, and then tapping it right on the discoloration just a little bit. And then you can fling it over to the fluffy end and just barely blend it out. Tap, tap, tap. Okay. I cannot see in this. Okay. So when I color match you, I usually will recommend my top two favorite brushes, the blush and bronzer brush. It's okay if you don't memorize the names right away. It takes a little time, but what it has is this rounded, dense end here, and then this big fluffy end here. So that's one of my favorites. It comes in a bundle with Bella bronzer or any bronzer, but that's my favorite. And then the detail brush, and this one has like a broom-like end. That's perfect for contouring. And then this small end that I love to get like under my eyes or around my nose. So let's mainly use those two today to apply our makeup. When you first get your makeup, you might wonder where to place your tins inside of your palette, because they do come individually and then you slide them out. Now, I don't have one of the tops with me, but you know, when you slide them out, when you first get them, there's going to be a top. Instead of tossing all of those away, keep one or two, because it might help you when you want to take out these later. If they're tightly packed in there, then it helps you get them out. So you can do it however you like. You know, you might have gotten a different palette size. This is called palette 18 because it fits 9 of this size on this layer and 9 on the second layer. You may have gotten a palette 12 or 8 or 27. So I do suggest that if you can, keep your powders, so that'd be like your eyeshadows, powder illuminators, vanilla dust setting powder on one layer, and then keep your creams on the other. So that'd be like your 3D foundation. That's your highlights and contours, bronzers, lip and cheeks. So I'm going to use the detail brush and dip into my contour first. In my compact, I have my contour, my brightening highlight, and my main highlight. These placed in one layer on your face is going to be your 3D foundation. They all have coverage, which is really cool. If you got a bronzer, your bronzer is going to be the warmer brown, and your contour is your darker, cooler brown. They do two different things. This is going to give you dimension and shadowing and coverage, and this is going to give you a nice sheer warmth at the end. We'll place at the high points of our face. You'll notice that the contour is harder in consistency than your highlights, and this is on purpose. This is so it stays throughout the day, and it's in places on your face that don't move. You'll see it's here, see how I'm talking? It's in these places that don't move, where our highlights are gonna move with our skin in the other areas. So when you first dip into it, you might need a little bit more pressure than in the highlights, but you still don't wanna dig deep, and you just put a little bit, and you can always add more. So for your cheekbones, look for the top of your ear and imagine a diagonal line to the corner of your mouth, and that's where you wanna place it. That's it, just tap it on there. So again, dipping back in couple dips, tap it on. So it doesn't feel like you're getting a lot on the brush, but you are. And we're just gonna place it, and it's gonna look silly, and you have to trust the process because then we're gonna blend it at the end. It'll look amazing. So dip, dip, dip. And then on the forehead, still this motion, or sometimes I do this motion and just swipe it back and forth. So for the forehead, we're going the parameter, temple to temple in kind of a rainbow shape. This is gonna help my forehead look a little smaller. And then I love to do the jawline. So for the jawline, we're gonna go ear to ear all the way across. Okay. Now we could stop there, but if you want to contour under your lip, I love the detail brush because you can take it, see at an angle on the edge there, and then put it under there if you want like a juicy lip look. Same motion on the edge, and then you can contour your nose, stamp it, and then feather up to the eyebrow. And then like on the other side, do the same thing. So 2 straight lines fairly close together with a little bit of a gap because we're gonna put this color here. Let's just do it now. This is our brightening highlight. So if you have 2 highlights from me, that's on purpose. Brightening is just gonna be the one that's lighter. Should be 1 or 2 shades lighter than your skin tone. Okay, and then tip of nose. And then I put my brightening highlight there. So sometimes I'll use my finger. I go back and forth, but now we could switch if we want to the other end of the detail brush and dip into the brightening highlight and do inner corner and outer corner of the eye. And I like to go up. This will lift the face. And a little bit on the eyelid to help with discoloration. And then I go here and here. So we have not set anything down. We're saving time. We're not digging through a makeup bag. That's why this is so amazing. One of the many reasons as we age, cream makeup is going to be our best friend. It moves with our face and doesn't settle into the fine lines and wrinkles. Okay, so you can continue to use the detail brush, this end, into your main highlight. But since we're using 2 brushes, I'll show you how sometimes I like to switch now to the blush and bronzer brush. The smaller end, and I'm gonna dip into my main highlight. So the motion I use is simply dabbing. You're gonna see this motion being used a lot. Dip, dip, dip. And then I'm just gonna fill in the blanks. And it just takes a little bit. And then once you spread it out, then go back in for a little bit more. You can use a smaller brush. If you only have this brush, you could pinch it if you need it to be smaller. Okay. You could also, while you're playing around to see what you like best, you can go in with your finger and just dot it around. Maybe you'll prefer finger application and brush blending at first. Okay, and we're just dabbing that in. Okay, let me look in the mirror because I cannot see in this phone. So this makeup is TSA friendly. It's so nice on the go. Like if you're running late and you got to get the kids in the car and your husband's yelling at you or whatever, just bring it with you and do it in the car. Super easy. Okay, so now I think we should just blend it and then we can do bronzer and all the fun things. Okay, so now for blending, I'm gonna stick with the blush and bronzer. If you have a different brush, it's the same thing. Maybe I recommended the 3D brush because you wanted to just start with one. Totally fine. Use this brush. So I'm using the scenario where we have the detail brush and the blush and bronzer. So I'm just gonna start tapping. I'm gonna tap the lightest parts of my face first. So that's the brightening highlight. And that's it. It's so easy. It's cream. It just melts into the skin. It's warming up with your skin as it sits on there, which is really cool. And then I'm going right into contour, and it's this motion, tap, tap, tap. And then up on the forehead, I blend it back to the hairline. I might do these little circle motions like this. See, and we're blending it all together, so there's no harsh lines. Tap, 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 blending up. On the cheekbone, I go blend and back to the hairline, tap and flick. Tap and flick. Okay. And then on the jawline, I just go across and I blend it down. And that is it in its easiest, quickest form. And if you want to head out the door now, that's fine. I would say add a lip and cheek. I'm sticking with the blush and bronzer brush. And I'm going to go into my bronzer. I'm going to show you two ways you can dip in with a small end. Barely any, a little goes a long way, and place it where you'd like it to be. I suggest the shape of a C. This is going to be the high points of your face. And it's just this sheer bronzy glow that is so beautiful. This is called Bella Bronzer, and you can get it in a bundle with the blush and bronzer brush at a discount. Or you can go in with this big fluffy end and kind of swirl it around, dibby dab, and hold your hand back here and then just do some circles, some big circle motions. So you get the same result. So you just play with how you would like to apply it. You could do it over your nose, your chin. You could even bring it down your neck. See, my neck is a little bit paler than my face. Bronzer is so good, you guys. Cream bronzer is so good. Especially when you're in between shades, you know? Don't forget your ears. Okay, now let's do a lip and cheek. So I grabbed some reds today. I haven't been doing that lately. This is saffron, and this is a matte red. So I tend to like to do mattes on my cheeks and glosses on my lips, but I definitely mix and match. So you can definitely dib dab in with this end of the blush and bronzer, or I will just use my finger. I like to place it high point and then up towards the temple for like a lifted look. It's fun to mix and match our colors. So then I'm just patting it, but if you need a little more blend, do a little buffing circle motions, blending up to the temple. Tap, tap, tap. Circle, circle, tap, tap, tap. Beautiful. Gotta do a little red sometimes, right? I am not picky. I like peaches, reds, pinks. Okay. Then this is like one of my favorites. This is Pop. If you hop on and see this on the replay, please comment hashtag replay so I know you got to see it. I'm looking for some hostesses to host a class that I will put on in April and May. And you'll get a little gift from me just for hosting. You just invite your friends to a group that I'll set up, and then I'll do giveaways and a lot of live videos, and I'll teach them all about Seint. Cute. So if you're interested, just comment me below, and then we can pick a date, and I'll give you some goodies from my stash. So fun. Okay, so now what should we do next? Let's see, what else do I have in my goodie bag? So we just did the first layer of all my little creams. Our lip and cheeks are creams, and they double as blush and lipstick. I did a demi under eye corrector, bronzer, 3D foundation. Okay, this layer, let's do illuminator. I suggest grabbing a fluffy brush. This is the blend brush. This is our fluffiest one, I think. I'm going to use Photoshop Illuminator. It's a powder illuminator. We also have creams. And just put that on the high points of the face. How beautiful, right? So when the sun catches it, it's so nice. And I do tip of nose, bridge of nose. You can do Cupid's bow. This was made for this as a powder brush, and it comes in a collection with Vanilla Dust finely milled setting powder. Again, this is all customizable. You only buy what you want. And then when it runs out, you can replace it. And these tins last so long, you guys. Okay, so tap in there. And then if you want to use setting powder, just place it in those areas that you would like it to be a little more of a matte look. So glowy goodness from Seint 3D Cream Makeup. Now let's go to powder eyeshadows. This is the look I picked today. It's very spring-like with our peaches and pinks. So I'm going to use the Seint eyeshadow brush. This is the best eyeshadow brush I've ever used, with this big fluffy end and this little small end to help you pack in the pigment. So let's go into Havana first. I like to hold the brush back here and then dip in here ever so slightly and then tap off the excess. Now I would suggest keeping your eyes open and tilting slightly up, especially the hooded eyes. Keeping your hand back here, placing the brush on the outer corner and starting to do little circles. And then windshield wiper into and slightly above the crease. So there's not a lot of precision here. Don't worry too much about this part. Just giving yourself a little bit of a wash. And this is what we call a transition shade. It's gonna really help with the blending and coming together of the other shades. I love this one for the spring. And if you wanna grab our Demi Balm, you can mix it with any of our eyeshadows and make a custom lip and cheek color. So that's fun. Okay, and then let's go into, oh, I was gonna use Valencia. Well, let's do it now. I usually would start with the lightest one first. So we'll just wash that kind of on top. Okay. So now let's use this end and go into Mi Hija. This is a beautiful matte pink shade that I love. All proceeds go to our foster care charity that we do. There's 2 eyeshadows that all the proceeds go. Oh, Mi Hija and Stay Golden. Okay, and then so I'm just kind of placing it and like think of the shape of a V, starting on the outer corner and then just kind of bringing it up into the crease and then along the lash line. And then I end up just kind of tapping it there so it's like a little triangle. Okay. And then you can just evaluate and see what you want to do next. Like maybe I'll go back into that same color, but on the fluffy end, and then do a little bit of a blend. So just do little circles and then into the crease slightly. And this is creating dimension for your eye like we create dimension with our contour. Okay. And then I'm gonna go into Tawanda. This is a beautiful pink. I love this pink. With my shimmers, I love using my finger to apply to really give a lot of pigment. And I like to just place it on my lid and not go up into the crease. Okay, and then I grab Unicorn, this beautiful white color, just for a little pop in the inner corner. I tend to prefer to have my brightest colors in the inner corner to really brighten the eye because that's where we get the darkest. Okay, and then you can even put it under here. Okay, so the next part is one of my favorite things I started doing 2.5 years ago when I started using Seint. So I was a big liquid eyeliner gal, and there's nothing wrong with it. I still use it sometimes, but it can be a little aging as we get older. So I love to take this end and kind of mirror the colors on the bottom lash line. So I'm going to go into Havana. I gotta look in the mirror for this. And just take it along the lower lash line. I like to do about 3/4 of the way. Okay, let's do the other side. Do you guys make funny faces like me? I have to do it. I have to. Okay, and then we can go into Mi Hija and then kind of mirror that. So I just do like a little bit, like 1/4 of the outside. And then sometimes I love to go back into kind of like my crease shade, maybe the lightest or medium matte. In this case, it's Havana. And do one more final wash kind of above the crease to kind of bring it all together and just add a little bit more of that peachy tone. So it's kind of like a sunset color. I should have picked a pink shade on my lips today. Okay, there we go. Oh, there we go. Havana, Valencia, Mi Hija, Unicorn, and Tawanda. And it would look a lot better if I curled my eyelashes and put mascara on, but I'm not doing that today. This is Seint 3D makeup. I color match you to it. Just comment match below. You snap a selfie. It's free. I'll recommend all the perfect shades for your beautiful face. And I did an under eye corrector. And then in this part, I did my Bella bronzer, a couple different lip and cheeks, and a beautiful illuminator. Probably my favorite right now, Photoshop powder illuminator to add that extra glow. Vanilla Dust Setting Powder if you want some areas to be more matte, and then a pretty spring eyeshadow look. I would love to recommend eyeshadows for you as well. It's so fun for me. I have all the shades if you want any swatches. Okay, so comment match below if you want to get your hands on this beautiful makeup line. Have a great week. Bye.